Today's Dallas Cowboys report is powered by Magic Spoon cereal. You can get $5 off your first order of this best-tasting, healthy cereal on the market when you go over to magicspoon.com/Cowboys. Today's show, all about trade rumors. Makes sense, the NFL trade deadline just around the corner. And the one we begin with is from our friends over at ESPN, where Todd Archer has named Michael Gallup the team's top trade candidate. We'll spend some time on this one because, well, the Michael Gallup trade rumors, or trade speculation, maybe a better term for it here, hasn't gone away for, it's been over a year at this point. Background here, ESPN picked a trade candidate for each NFL team based on the beat writers. Archer picked Gallup. And it does make a little bit of sense. It's for the same reasons we've discussed for so long here. Gallup's in the last year of his deal. He may not return to Dallas next year, and if I had to guess one way or the other right now, still very early, probably not. And Cedric Wilson has fared very well in place of the injured Michael Gallup, who again is still on IR, at least for now. I think he's back after the bye. But Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb are better receivers right now than Gallup. And if you could get a defensive player in exchange, which would be the only way I think it makes sense, you could get by with Cedric Wilson as your wide receiver 3. 19 targets this year, 14 catches, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. It should be 3 touchdowns, but he couldn't haul in the one in the end zone against the Patriots. But I do want to emphasize this part. The Cowboys are missing Michael Gallup. Even last year, with Dak Prescott not out there all that much because, he was hurt, Gallup had 843 yards and 5 scores. Back in 2019, Gallup was a 1,000-yard receiver. Michael Gallup is still a premier player for this Cowboys offense. I think in particular, vertically, as a deep threat to help take the top off the defense, something that he is better at doing right now than a banged-up Amari Cooper and a really more middle-of-the-field monster CeeDee Lamb right now. That in particular, I believe, is where the Cowboys are missing Michael Gallup on this offense. I still think there's a very low chance the Cowboys trade him away. Frankly, there's actually nothing new with this ESPN article. But I want you guys to get your votes in. What is the % chance that the Cowboys trade away Michael Gallup? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So we get that ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. As I mentioned, I believe there is a very little chance that this actually goes down. And we'll get to Todd Archer's actual quote here because he doesn't think that there's a very good chance of this going down either. I don't think the Cowboys are going to move Gallup. Here's what Archer wrote. Quote, "The Cowboys wouldn't want to do this, but Gallup has not played since the opener because of a calf injury and is in the final year of his contract. Would the Cowboys be able to swing a deal for an immediate need, corner, defensive tackle, or maybe a potential draft pick? Gallup is a big play threat and a great fit with Dak Prescott." I also cut out "in the passing game" because it didn't fit the graphic, but that was there too. But Cedric Wilson has filled in nicely as the number 3 receiver behind Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Of course, Wilson is set to be a free agent as well. Given the talent in the group, the Cowboys might be able to get something in return, but they wouldn't want to walk away from Gallup. Reading the actual quote beyond just the name mentioned, it very much seems like Archer had to pick somebody, and, well, given the fact that the Cowboys are more likely to be buyers, if anything, at this year's trade deadline, Gallup was the selection. I do believe the offense misses Michael Gallup, as I mentioned, predominantly as that top 3. You look at Dak Prescott's passing chart this year, very good, by the way. That deep vertical right or down the right sideline shot hasn't been great. That is where Michael Gallup is being missed the most. I will say this. On the long shot chance that you do trade away Gallup, it would have to be for a good defensive player. I'm talking a really good defensive tackle or a really good corner. This team is not a seller right now, nor should they be. If anything, they got to cut some guys since they got some rosters, as Jerry Jones has mentioned in the past, in terms of guys coming back from injury, freeing up the roster space. But trading away Gallup, not a move I think makes sense right now for Dallas. Now, today's show, as I mentioned, powered by our friends over at Magic Spoon Cereal. You can get $5 off your first order of the best tasting healthy cereal out there on the market when you go to magicspoon.com/Cowboys. High in protein, 13 grams or 14 if you dig the peanut butter version. Also got 4 grams of net carbs. And oh, by the way, 0 sugar as well. So go try out one of their multitude of flavors, from the blueberry to the cinnamon. They've got the fruity, the frosted, the cocoa as well. Tons of available options. So try out a box, or maybe 4 or 5. magicspoon.com/Cowboys. That link, folks, will be in the comment section, and it'll be in the description as well. So try it out today. magicspoon.com/Cowboys. This cereal tastes absolutely incredible. It is worth every single penny. Let's talk more trades here. Duh, right? ESPN's Bill Barnwell also put together a trade idea. He's got the Cowboys getting Mack Wilson. The Browns, meanwhile, get offensive tackle Ty Nsekhe. So would you do this deal if you were the Dallas Cowboys? Get your votes in for me in the comments section. Type in Y for yes you would, N for no you would not. As we're about to get into, I say no. I don't like this deal for Dallas. Now, Ty Nsekhe has only played in 1 game this year. He is nothing more than a backup offensive tackle, but you already dumped one of your other backup offensive tackles. You moved on from Brandon Knight because he, they waived him. The Ravens claimed him, then he opted out due to some mental health issues, which is okay, or not opted out, didn't report, due to mental health issues. God forbid Tyron Smith goes down. That leaves you Lael Collins and Terrence Steele if you were to get rid of Ty Nsekhe. Now, if you think Josh Ball can come back, okay, maybe that starts to make a little bit more sense, but I am not sure that's really a path you want to pursue since Josh Ball hasn't played this year. Meanwhile, the guy you're getting back, linebacker Mack Wilson, once a highly touted prospect to an extent, has fallen down the Browns' depth chart because they've got better options at linebacker. This was pitched as your Jalen Smith replacement if you are the Dallas Cowboys. Here's the problem. You don't need a Jalen Smith replacement. You've got Micah Parsons, Keanu Neal, Leighton Vander Esch, and I want to play Jabril Cox more, not bury him on the depth chart once again. I don't think this trade really makes sense for Dallas. If you're moving Ty Nsekhe, which I don't really want to do because I'm worried about tackle depth in general, even though he's a veteran, I don't think linebacker's a spot to go get help at if I'm the Cowboys. Now, I don't want you guys to miss out on any video that we do here at the Cowboys Report, but a lot of you guys are going to, because about 80% of you don't have notifications set to all. When you first subscribe here on YouTube, what ends up happening is YouTube defaults your notifications to personalized. And that's not what you want. It means you're not going to get a push for a video we do every single day. So while you're subscribed, change those notifications to all. Just click the bell that you subscribed the first time and change it from personalized to all. Let's talk more trades. How about Steven Means? I got some thoughts on this one. So Bleacher Report went through and picked one player each NFL team should trade for. And their selection for Dallas was Steven Means, who's starting right now for a rather bad Atlanta Falcons defense. He's got 15 tackles this year, 0 sacks, 2 tackles lost. He's actually been, from a snap count perspective, the edge who's played the most so far this season for Atlanta. Now, let's get into some of the quotes here from Bleacher Report as to why they argued Steven Means makes sense for Dallas. Quote, Steven Means doesn't get much credit as a hard-nosed, get-after-it performer who can play both the run and pressure opposing quarterbacks. The 31-year-old also experienced a bit of a breakout when he became a starter for the Atlanta Falcons in the second half of the 2020 campaign. But did he, though? 2020, Steven Means had 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 6 quarterback hits. I wouldn't say he was a bad football player, but he's like a low-end rotation guy, of which the Cowboys have several. Bleacher Report also mentioned this. Who was the Falcons' head coach at the time? Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Here's the thing. No, he wasn't. The second half of the year, Dan Quinn got fired. This is just wrong. Steven Means, in the end, would end up being another version of a Dorrance Armstrong or Terrell Basham. The Cowboys have those guys already on the roster at defensive end. I don't want to give fewer snaps to Chauncey Golston or Bradley and I or DeMarcus Lawrence when he comes back. I don't think Steven Means, as a low-end rotation defensive end, is actually a good trade target for the Cowboys. Frankly, if they traded for him, my reaction would be, okay, but why? That's not a high upside, high reward player. That's just a depth option. So what I want you guys to do right now, because I've got one coming up in a second, I want you to name a good trade target for the Dallas Cowboys. Get your votes in the comments section right now. Here's one I think we'll see a couple times in there. That's Kyle Fuller, who has not fared great for Denver this year and now, unquestionably, has been benched. He's not starting on the outside after playing like 90% of the snaps in the first 5 weeks for the Broncos. Now, I think Fuller is available for a trade. His value, though, at an all-time low. He's not coming off a good season so far. Completion percentage is very high. The yards are very high for a guy who's been benched for 2 games and hasn't been targeted nearly as much as, say, as Anthony Brown. As weird as this is to say out loud, based only on this year, Anthony Brown's been better than Kyle Fuller, especially in man-to-man. Now, that's not to say that I think Anthony Brown is a better player overall than Kyle Fuller, but I think the poor play out of Fuller so far this year, coupled with his roughly $5.5 million salary owed over the rest of the year, makes things a bit tricky. Maybe, given the fact that the Cowboys are aware of the impending returns of the likes of Kelvin Joseph, you'd have to work out a type of player-for-player trade because the numbers right now don't work at cornerback or on your roster. But that could work, I guess, if you're the Cowboys. So what do you think? Be honest with me. This is a much better name than Steven Means. Would you trade for Kyle Fuller? Get your votes in. Type in A for yes, you would, or type in B for no, you would not. Another name better than Steven Means is Emmanuel Ogbah, another defensive. This one makes more sense, right? Sporting News actually pitched this idea, and Dallas did like him coming out of the NFL draft. Ogbah's in the last year of his deal, making just under $7.5 million total, so you'd prorate that over the number of games left. We'll round and say it's like 4-ish or $3.5 million left. So we'll spend some more time on this, but first, I want you guys to get your votes in. Do you like the idea of trading for Emmanuel Ogbah? Type L for you like it, or type D for nah, that's not something you're in the mood for. Ogbah, a much better player than Steven Means is. 16 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 8 quarterback hits. He was also really good in 2020. That was his true breakout year. So I am at least somewhat intrigued by this idea. I think he is a bigger name, a bit more expensive. I think the Cowboys would prefer to simply roll with what they have on the roster, with DeMarcus Lawrence coming back at some point, and you can use Parsons, Golston, and I, etc. But Ogbah is a name to at least monitor if in the event the Dolphins go in full fire sale mode, which I'm not sure they're actually going to. So if you haven't already, folks, make sure you guys are subscribed. And you know, if Dallas does make a trade, we'll break it down for you guys right here on the Cowboys Report.